Okay, hi, I'm Dan Swearingen. This is the Autistry ShopBot setup, and we're getting ready to cut out our nameplate. We've got our nameplate right here. We're going to make one just like this. And let's get started. Come up with the machine. It's already sitting at machine 0, which looks pretty good. So notice you can move the machine when it's off. So let's turn it on. And now the machine's solid and it's not moving. Because of that, though, this machine is now out of register, so we're going to go ahead and register it really quickly, just because otherwise you can do a movement on the machine and bad things will happen. All right, so first we're going to zero it out. So we're going to zero X and Y. So right now you can see that it says 0, 0, but the machine is obviously not at 0, 0. We're going to zero it out really fast. That's the sound it makes when it's going to move on its own. All right. Tool's now zeroed in X and Y axis. Put that away. Now let's bring up our drawing. This is the drawing we made last time. First thing we're going to do is we're going to check that the piece of wood we're actually going to use is the same thickness as we designed in Partworks and VCarve. Go give it a quick measure with the caliper and confirm it's within a 1,000th of 050. So this is the piece we're going to use. Good idea to do this before you secure it to the ShopBot table. All right, now let's go through and double check. We are set for 0.53. That looks good. We've set it down to 1 pass. Click calculate, say OK. So we're going to save these toolpaths out to this computer right here. The reason we want to do that is because we don't want to be pulling the cut file that's actually driving the machine across the Wi-Fi. That's not a good idea. All sorts of things can happen in the middle of the cut that maybe interfere with the Wi-Fi. So we want the file local on this machine. So now what I'm going to do is save the cut files. Save it. Okay, right now it's pointing across the network. So I'm going to go to the desktop, ShopBot My Projects, Dan S, tutorial names. Okay, and this is going to be Dan S cut. Cut and save it. And now I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to save the VCarve file, and I'm going to save this as Dan S Carve, and save that, and put this away. And now I'm ready to start cutting things out. So the next thing is I need to secure this to the wood. The bridge is in my way, so I'm going to move it back. Okay, so I don't want you to use, there's a temptation to go ahead and put the thing right here in the corner, so it's nice and tidy, but because we're already zeroed to that and we're good to go, the problem is the corner gets really beat up, all right? So what I would prefer is, unless you're doing a full sheet project, you do not use this area, use someplace right here. Now, if you're worried about the piece not being oriented, there are T-squares right here, and if you really want to make sure it's square, you can just do that. And really, you can be anywhere in here, but let's be someplace that's within easy reach. Okay, we are now going to screw this right to the tabletop. And so we've got our drills right here. Go into the ready bit drill. This is a small piece. So I'm going to get this bit right here and use this one. Okay, we're all set to drill. And screws are in the next drawer down. This is a small piece of 1/2-inch wood, so we're going to use small screws. I'm going to use 4. I'm going to get my drill driver ready. All right, and I'm just going to go like this. And yeah, eventually we need to replace the spoil board. All right, and then get these out. I usually put them over here. Make sure the points are pointing away from people. And now what we want to do is we want to orient the origin of the drawing and line it up with this corner right here. So the x-axis goes this way, so that would be, let me pull up the drawing again. The x-axis is right along here. Back to 2D view and fit it to view. There we go. So 0, 0 is right this corner right here. And that 0, 0 is this corner right here. Now, because we've got the screw here, I'm going to move it in just a little bit. Are we clear? We are clear. If you're in any doubt about hitting the screw, you want to go ahead and scoot in a little bit. But what I'll go do, and I often do this with the students, is I get a Sharpie out, and I'm going to put a little X right here. It's actually, you take a look, I put the little X right there, right next to the screw, and that way I know that's the outside corner of the drawing, and so I know that that's not going to be a problem. Okay, and now let's put in the bit that we're going to use. Okay, and so I'm going to drive the ShopBot over. What we need to do now is make the 0 point of the ShopBot match where that X is. What I'm going to do first is put in the bit that we're going to use. So going back to your drawing real fast, the VCarve bit is using the 60-degree V bit. The 60-degree V bit is this one right here. We're going to put that in. Get our wrenches off the side. Reach around the back. So what I'm reaching for is this screw right here. Okay. Push down the skirt. Okay, there's no bit in there, which is good. It's a good idea to put your bit away when you're done with the ShopBot. Okay, slip the bit in. I just put it in kind of level with the end. So not all the way in so it's sticking out, but just kind of flush with the end. Start it by hand. Okay. And get one wrench to keep the shaft from rotating, the other wrench to tighten it. Give it a good push. Bring the skirt back up. Tighten up that screw again. Put the wrenches away. All right. Let's make sure we got a good view of this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is line up the, I'll put this more like this view. I'm going to line up the bit with the corner of the piece of wood. So remember, to get the movement panel up, the control panel, you can either click on this icon here or you can hit K on the keyboard. Either one of those works. Okay, and now just going to scoot it. I'm going to come down a little bit so it's easier. And come eyeball it. We're looking really good. Okay, I can come this way just a little bit. Just a bit. That was probably too much. No, that looks about right. Okay. So here. So we lift up the skirt. We are over the X, and I've checked it from both axes. And that's close enough. You don't have to be super close, but you want to be close enough that you know you're not going to have any problems. Okay, now I come back to here, and you can see that X and Y are not 0 and 0, and we need them to be 0 and 0. So you go to the 0 menu, and you 0 X and Y. Now there's 0, 0. Now, that says 0.634 for Z. That's the height of the bit above, the height of the bit above the wood. We did the drawing as a reminder. Go back to the setup. You'll see that the Z equals 0 position was the surface of the material. Sometimes people do it at the tabletop. We tend to do it at the surface of the material. And so now what we need to do is calibrate, tell the machine where the top of the wood is. So to do that, I move to the middle of the area where I will be cutting. So I bring the movement paddle back up. Okay, remember we're making something like this. So we're cutting it out in this area, and you can see I've put the bit right about in the middle of that. So by putting it in the middle of a flat object, in theory, the average height is going to be in the middle of it. And now I'm going to say that I'm going to measure the Z height. And that's this button right here. Give it a click. Okay, now, don't hit enter yet. You've got to put this plate down. This plate's stored right here. This clip, come down and clip it on there just like that. Okay, let me give you a little close up here. There. Okay, well, there we are. And you can see I've just clamped it right there at the top of the bit. It's a little hard to see. You want to make good electrical contact with it. Get the plate underneath. This is really good to have two people for. I'm used to doing it, so I just run around fast enough. So it's going to come down and touch. Pull up. It's going to come down again slower. Remember, stepper motors have more power when they're slow. So it comes down fast with low power, then it comes down slow with high power to get a very precise fit. Put the clamp back. So I always put the clamp right up here. Just clip it right there. In fact, you can see there's some copper there. And we're good to go. So we've got the right bit in. I want to check the speed. This bit goes at 10,000, so you get 10,000. This switch is kind of hard to tell, but push it all the way down to the bottom, and that's 10,000. So our speed's set. The power switch is in the on position. We have our handy dandy ShopBot list. Let's go down the list. Okay, I haven't opened the door or any of that stuff, so let me go do that. So this is our air filter system. It basically emits a very fine wood gas. And so we don't want that to build up in the workspace, so we blow it outside. We did not have access to making major changes to this building, so we want to open it up. I open it up just as high as these fans here. This is our very high-tech air transfer system. And then we come over here and plug in our fans. Okay, those fans are going. They're blowing air out. Okay, we'll put that away. Put this back so I can watch what's going on. Okay. Looking down our checklist. Fans on. Board is clamped. X and Y is zeroed. Z is zeroed. Key is engaged. So the key, I'll show you where the key is. The key is right here, generally, at the end of this. And we just stick it in here. Turn that on. Okay. For The Carve, we do not actually have to have the air extraction on. It doesn't make a ton of dust. This is on, this is on. We're now going to go and cut the part. And we need to go to tutorial names. We want Dan S. Carve. Open. We're going to start. Tool number 8 in the spindle. Yes, it is. In other words, do we have the pointy bit in? Z-axis is zeroed. Yes. Start. Confirm 10,000. We've set 10,000. Everything's on. We are good to go. Now note over here that it says that we've done 21% of it, 25% of it. We have 40, 50 seconds elapsed. So it's going to take another couple minutes. Okay, and we're done. So the key here is that we're going to change the bit. We're going to change the bit now for the cutting bit. We're not going to change any other part of the setup. We are going to have to measure Z again, but we do not have to measure X and Y because we've already set that. And as long as we don't turn the machine off, we can be sure it's still there. So let me move. Let's move away from the work. Let's raise the bit a bit. Okay. Hit the escape key before you stick your hands in the machine. Okay, I'm going to come back here, do that. Get my wrenches. Notice I keep the wrench on the whole time I'm undoing the bit. There's kind of a catch at the end. Okay, now we're going to change to our side cutting bit, which looks like that. Get that in. Try to resist the temptation to blow the sawdust away. It's a good way to blow sawdust up into your eyes. Okay, now we've changed bits, which means the machine has now lost an accurate measure of the distance between the tip of the bit and the surface of the wood. So we've got to remeasure that. So to do that, bring up the paddle. Let's scoot into the middle of the piece of wood, thereabouts. Get my plate out, my clip. Plate underneath. So to confirm, this is kind of the setup I'm going for. Make sure that the plate is underneath where the bit's going to come down. All right. Measure Z again. And say OK. Hold this so it doesn't move. Now, this requires higher speed. Generally go to 13,000 for this. I'll do a separate video about feeds and speeds. There's a real art to picking the speed and the rate and the blade and the material. A lot of variables there. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so we need to turn on the main dust collection. Walk you over. The switch is right here. Do not turn on the vacuum while the ShopBot is moving. Okay, now we're going to go cut part. And Janice cut, open, start, yes, Z-axis is zeroed, ready to start. Okay, now go over and turn off the vacuum. Bring up the keypad. All right. And we are almost there. Okay, now let's take a shop vac. What I suggest at this point is that you unscrew the piece of wood. Back the bridge out of the way. So it's easier to vacuum if you go ahead and get the piece loose, so don't move it yet. MDF in particular has super fine dust. Put the screws back. Be kind to the next person. It might be you. All right, now let's get a shop vac. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. So you can see that this is looking exactly like our drawing. Okay, we've cut all the way through. Okay, next, to cut out the tabs, I use this little reciprocating saw. This is the best thing ever. The other thing I often use is a wood chisel and a hammer, a furniture mallet, but this is much easier. You want to cut close to the material. All right, this is looking really good. Okay, now, what are the final things you should do? Let's get the bit out and put it away. It's like be kind, rewind, right? All right. Let's bring this thing up. That down. Okay, generally I take the entire collet and bit and just set it back into the ready bit drawer. The machine can be left like this. Go ahead, put your wrenches away. We turn off the fan, reduce our noise a little bit. All right, and then we can come over. So you need to turn off the software first. So turn off the control software and turn off the ShopBot. Take out the key, put the key back in the drawer. Now you've left the ShopBot. Now, the reality is the ShopBot is an all-day production machine. It's fine leaving it on all day. However, from a safety perspective, it's a better idea to turn it off. So let's turn it off if you're not going to be using it again immediately. I think this is pretty good. I'll finish up with my little guy in the corner bit, but thank you very much.